taking the time on a Saturday morning. First, I want to talk about Genskill a little bit. Genskill is an initiative founded out of Kozhikode with the aim of building next generation of skilled engineers. We are trying to solve the skill gap problem in engineering. All of you are aware of the problem since the industry, politicians, and press have reported about the problem multiple times. Statistics show that more than 90% of the students lack necessary skills required for functioning in the industry, despite the 4 or 6 years of engineering education that they undergo. Two NIT Calicut alumnus from the 2001 batch, Mr. Naufal Ibrahim and Asif ETV, who have worked in the industry for almost 2 decades, founded Genskill in 2019. Genskill platform brings students, companies, and colleges together, thus helping students to develop industry skills, companies to recruit the best talent, and colleges to shape employable youth. The platform currently offers placement automation to remove various manual overhead in organizing campus placements, job fairs, and pool drives. The platform also provides access to a set of sample question papers from big recruiters such as Infosys, TCS, CTS, Wipro, etc. Students will be able to assess their skill level through diagnostic tests and quizzes. Another functionality that's being rolled out is the ability to take courses that can help students become experts in many software technologies. We are set to roll out a course on C programming for the KTU first-year students in Malayalam in October. This will ensure that students can learn coding skills, which has become an essential skill in any industry that the student is aspiring for. Even the new education policy rolled out by the Indian government proposes to teach students coding from 6th standard onwards. So shouldn't a BTech student from Kerala have the ability to code as they go to the industry beyond 2020? I'm extremely honored and pleased to welcome Dr.S M Sameer as the speaker for the first Genskill Thought Leadership Series. This series of monthly webinars and panel discussions are aimed to highlight problems facing the engineering institutions with skill development among students. This forum will hopefully become a venue to share ideas and practical steps to improve the job opportunities of students. We are looking for speakers and ideas for future events. So if you're interested, please reach out to us. Today's topic for discussion is how to make our students employable. We'll actually focus on 4 questions. How is COVID-19 affecting placements in 2020-2021? How can engineering colleges increase job opportunities for students through upskilling? How to focus on skill development along with academics and prepare students for recruitment? How can a placement cell focus on value-added activities through automation? We will have the presentation from Sir for close to an hour and follow that with Q&A for 20 minutes. Please ask your questions on the chat box during the presentation, or please ask the questions during the time reserved for questions. I'll give a brief bio about Dr. Sameer SM. Dr.S.M Sameer received BTech degree in Electronics and Communication Engineering from TKM College of Engineering in 1994, MTech in Telecommunication Systems Engineering, and PhD in Wireless Communications in 2003 and 2009 from Indian Institute of Technology, Kharagpur. After various tenures in industries, he joined as a lecturer in the Department of Electronics and Communication Engineering at National Institute of Technology, Calicut, Kerala. In 1998, where he is presently working as a professor, has published over 50 journal papers, including reputed IEEE transactions, 60 conference papers, and holds 2 US patents. He is a co-recipient of Best Paper Award for Communication in the 17th National Conference on Communications, held at the Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore in 2011. Dr. Sameer is a senior member of the IEEE and a regular reviewer of many reputed international conferences and journals. He has served on the technical program committees of several international conferences and was the general co-chair of TenCon 2019, the flagship conference of IEEE Region 10. He is the immediate past chairman of IEEE Kerala section. He is currently serving as the head of training and placement at NIT Calicut. We expect to benefit from Sameer sir's valuable experience in handling one of the largest departments for training and placement in India, with close to 2,000 students going through full-time and internship opportunities every year. We are honored and pleased to welcome you, sir. Over to you.
Thank you, Asif. Thank you for the kind introduction. Let me. So, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dr. S M Sameer. I'm the Vice Chairman of the Institute of Technology, Calicut, Kerala. It's a pleasure to be here today. It's a great honor to be Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir. We can see it.
Yeah, in full slide mode, right?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So, at the outset, I welcome all of you to this talk on a Saturday morning. Today is second Saturday, and probably we all must be relaxing at our home on a rainy day. So, I mean, despite all those possibilities, you have decided to, I mean, join for this, I mean, talk. Thank you very much. Now, when Asif, asked me whether, I can give a lecture in their Thought Leadership Series, I was really hesitant initially because, whatever that I wish to say would be a perspective that I have gathered over the last couple of years sitting as the head of training and placement at NIT Calicut, and NIT Calicut will have certain perspective to this particular problem, and the generalizations may be difficult because each institute will have its own strength and weaknesses. So therefore, probably it would be, it may not be, I mean, a good idea to speak institute-specific details, basically. So later on, when we discussed at length, I thought there are some learning that we have over the last couple of years, especially, and why not share just the thought that we have? It is basically, a biased kind of thoughts that I have. But maybe spend a couple of hours maximum to discuss all those to other similar people. I mean, academicians in various institutions, the placement officers in various colleges of Kerala, and institute administrators. Possible, I mean, who are all there in this current group, I'm really not aware, but I sincerely hope that there are some faculty members looking after the training and placement office attending this, and probably some institute administrators are also there, apart from other faculty members interested in this talk. Okay, so we know that COVID-19 and webinars are basically spreading in a very dangerous proportion, right? So ever since COVID has started, initially, I mean, we were in a dilemma like how to go ahead with the activities that we have been doing. But thanks to Zoom, thanks to Google Meet, and all these new platforms that we have received in a very short span of time, suddenly, we have, started generating new ideas for conducting programs, and webinars is one of the, interesting possibility that we have explored. But sooner or later, the proportion of webinars have increased tremendously. And every other day, we'll have at least 2 or 3 webinars happening in and around us, some way connected to us. So finally, we have reached a situation where, we feel like vomiting hearing about the possibility a new webinar. So despite all these, I've seen that about 25 to 30 people have decided to attend this. Good luck to you. And let's see, what will happen towards the end of this. Okay. So the agenda is not really fully as what Asif Naufal has mentioned. Incidentally, we have been using the product that they have developed, the Genskill app, for managing our placement activities for the last 2 years, 1.5 2 years, basically. And we found that there are a lot of things that we'll be able to do with this, and that way, there is, some kind of a bias on this. But all the questions that Naufal has mentioned may not be covered in this particular presentation. Probably I will focus on just 3 questions, like why our students are not employable, and who should make them employable, and obviously how to make them employable, right? But that last question is slightly difficult to answer. So the easier things are like to identify the issues, basically. I mean, which probably many of us will be able to do without much problems. But correcting that and it is not a real, I mean, really an easy. There's no easy answer to that actually, but still we will just see. Whatever that I'm going to say are from a TPO perspective or from an administration perspective, what a training and placement office can do, what the institute administration will be able to do. And all my opinion are basically personal and probably biased sitting in this chair, basically as a training and placement office of NIT Calicut. Right. I presume that, I mean, almost all the attendees of this are Malayalam, so occasionally I can tell something about something in Malayalam as well, right? So, നമ്മളൊരു പിന്നെ ഒരു തെങ്ങുകയറ്റം പഠിക്കാനാണെന്നുണ്ടെന്നുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ നമ്മൾ തെങ്ങുകയറ്റക്കാരുടെ കൂടെ നമ്മളൊരു 2-3 മാസം സ്പെൻഡ് ചെയ്യുകയാണെന്നുണ്ടെന്നുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ ഇപ്പോൾ വളരെ ഈസിയാണ്, മെഷീൻസ് ഉണ്ട്. അപ്പൊ അയാളുടെ കൂടെ നമ്മൾ ഒരു ടൈം സ്പെൻഡ് ചെയ്യാൻ റെഡി ആണെന്നുണ്ടെന്നുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ 2-3 months നമുക്ക് ഇത് പഠിച്ചെടുക്കാൻ പറ്റും. എന്നിട്ട് നമുക്ക് അതുകൊണ്ട് ഒരു ജീവിതം ഉണ്ടാക്കാൻ പറ്റും. കാരണം ഇപ്പൊ വളരെ ഡിമാൻഡുള്ള ജോലിയാണ്, വളരെയധികം ആൾക്കാർ കുറവാണ്. ഒരു തെങ്ങിൽ കയറിയാൽ തന്നെ ഏകദേശം 19 രൂപ കിട്ടും. അപ്പൊ അതുകൊണ്ട് വളരെ ഈസി ആയിട്ട് നമുക്ക് പിന്നെ ഒരു ലൈവ്ലിഹുഡ് മുന്നോട്ട് കൊണ്ടുപോകാൻ പറ്റും, അല്ലെ? അപ്പം therefore അത് പഠിച്ചെടുക്കാൻ പറ്റും. കുറച്ച് ടൈം ഇട്ട് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ നമുക്ക് വളരെ ഈസി ആയിട്ട് പഠിച്ചെടുക്കാൻ പറ്റും. അതേപോലെ തന്നെ ഇപ്പൊ പാമ്പാട്ടി ആവണമെന്ന് താല്പര്യം ഉണ്ടെന്നുണ്ടെന്നുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ ആ പാമ്പാട്ടിയുടെ കൂടെ ഒരു 2-3 മാസം 4 മാസം നടന്നു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ കുറച്ച് നല്ല ധൈര്യം ഉണ്ടെന്നുണ്ടെന്നുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ നമുക്ക് ഇതും വളരെ ഈസി ആയിട്ട് പഠിച്ചെടുക്കാൻ പറ്റും. അതിലൂടെ നമുക്ക് ഒരു ലൈവ്ലിഹുഡ് ഉണ്ടാക്കാൻ പറ്റും. പക്ഷേ നമ്മുടെ സ്റ്റുഡൻസ് 4 വർഷം ഒരു എഞ്ചിനീയറിംഗ് കോളേജിൽ പഠിച്ചിട്ടും ഒരു യൂണിവേഴ്സിറ്റിയുടെ കീഴിൽ ഒരു എഞ്ചിനീയറിംഗ് കോളേജിൽ 4 വർഷം പഠിച്ചിട്ടും we are seeing that our students are not really employed. അല്ലെങ്കിൽ even after completing a BTech and MTech, basically our students are not employable. So there is some serious issue that we have in our academic system, right? So even after 4 years or 6 years, if a person is not employable, right, we really need to think what is wrong with this system, right? So in this scenario, you may be seeing that some institutions are better figuring in this way. I mean, some institutions are having good placement and other kind of things. So we say, I mean, project in the, I mean, media that this institution is having this much of placement and all. And mostly all these are because of 2 factors. One is that the input quality of those institutions are very good. For example, NIT Calicut, I mean, the input quality is better than some other institutions in the country. So therefore, we have an advantage there. And second is the alumni that we have, right? So this 1+1 is bigger than 2, basically. That is the I mean advantage that many institutions are having, because their alumni has established a strong presence in the industry where they work, and because of that they are basically I mean these industries are coming back into those institutions. These alumni are pushing those companies to come and visit these institutions to recruit these students and all. So it is the point that I want to say is that it's not because of the 4 years that 4 years of knowledge that we impart in this engineering college mostly, but despite 4 years of teaching, still the student quality is good because their input quality is good, right? So I mean, jokes apart, this is there is a fact in this, and these industries are basically considering some campuses over the others because of this, right? So the point is that it is not easy to change this. It is not easy to get a good to drastically improve the input quality that an institution gets, and it is not really easy to get a good alumni base with strong presence in the industry to improve all this, right? So again, therefore we need to retrospect the situation that is happening. Why our students are not employable? So what again, when we look at again, then probably we can see that we plan and run our professional courses perhaps in a thoroughly unprofessional way. Right. So, I mean, there could be many definitions for these. There could be many perceptions for these ways. There could be many people who may contradict that it's not true. That it's not really. I mean, there is nothing wrong with the system that we have, and all these kind of things. Again, I have taken an anticipatory bail in the first slide itself. That all my all what I say is based on my perception. It's all biased. Right. So it is easy to point fingers in this scenario, and because you can say that students are not motivated, students have no caliber, they are not ready to pay some extra fee for attending some programs or events or something like that. The management may say that the teachers have no knowledge, they are not sincere. Teachers may say that the managements are misers, they won't spend, they won't pay. I mean, and the altogether students and teachers and management all will say together that the university and government are run by politicians. What to do? I mean, they are not doing this, they are not doing that, right? So if we try to point fingers, then probably the best thing is like just to relax and enjoy a rainy weekend with a cup of tea. Right, that's what I've told in the beginning, right? So that is the easiest part that we can do, and then read a novel and or watch a movie and sit back and and be satisfied with whatever that you do and whatever that happens in your institutions, right? But there is a very right that I mean, God grant me the serenity to accept things that I cannot change. Courage to change the things that I can, and wisdom to know the difference. And this is very important, right? So we all are sitting, attending this program. I presume that we all have some intention to understand things that we cannot change. And we all have some kind of, interest and courage to make some changes in whatever little things that we do, and understand which one you will be able to change and which one we will not be able to do anything, right? Okay, so that is the fundamental thought line behind whatever that I'm going to say. Again, coming back into the first question of the three important questions that we are trying to answer, why our students are not employed, right? So we have seen that probably we run our professional courses in an unprofessional way, or in other words, what the profession demands is not what we teach and train our students, right? So again, it's a very broad statement. Probably again, it has got certain catches, like we really do not know what the profession demands, and probably we know what we teach, and but we may have to then understand like whether we are teaching what the profession really demands or not. Remember, the issue that we have is unemployability. It is our students are not not employable, right? It's not an unemployment issue, right? So though in the market that we see that its unemployability rate is this, that, and all, please know that there are a lot of employment opportunities available in the market. In the introductory slide that Asif has presented, there was a quote from Tech Mahindra CEO. I mean, he has mentioned that 94% of graduates are not employable. It's not because they don't have employment, right? So this is the critical issue that we need to understand, that it has something to do with the way that we give content, we orient these students that are coming to our institutions, right? So what we really know now is that we have academia on one side and we have industry on the other side, and there is a gap. They are on either sides of the of the river, and now we need to create a bridge so that people from academia will be able to easily move to the industry and probably someone from industry also will be able to come back into academy and contribute, right? So this is what we are trying to see. Now, that was the first question that we have tried to answer. Now, the second question: why our students are employable? Why our students are not employable? That we have seen, because there is a skill gap. There is a skill gap. There is a gap between what the industry demands and what we deliver through our professional course spanning across the 4 years, right? Now, the second bigger question that we need to ask is, like, who should make them employable? And of course, right? So, who should make these products that are coming to our coming out from our colleges employable, right? Okay. Now, the point is, like, who holds the key, right? So we have students coming from academia, and we need to, help them to move to industry in a smooth way, right? And we need a key for this, because there is a gap. We need a key, and who holds the key? Who holds the key, right? So, from my perspective, all the stakeholders have partial keys. The stakeholders include the individual students, the teachers, university or government, industry, and the administration and TPOs, whom I am basically represent in this particular presentation. Right? So all these people are having the partial key, and we know that in a cryptographic system, when we have multiple levels of security embedded, each one with partial key, we need to use all these partial keys to unlock the system, basically, right? So therefore, everyone needs to contribute, but our focus will be a little bit more on the administration side. But before that, we'll examine some of these. So all have the partial keys, what they can do. So students needs to build their own profile. Ultimately, it is their life, their career. So therefore, they need to focus on building their profile right from the beginning when they are in the academic institutions. They need to self-learn. That culture has to come. There are a lot of online courses available on various topics. So just because they do an online course, they may not be employable. They may not get a real value addition. They must do individual project. They must do individual projects. If you want to say that I've learned something, say I've learned machine learning, probably then you have to do some projects related to your domain or otherwise using machine learning concept. You need to, as a student, they need to develop their profiles in if they're interested in new knowledge, develop their profile in Coursera, then HackerRank, HackerEarth, or GitHub and all these kind of public coding platforms, and all these they need to explore. So they need to do individual projects, interdisciplinary projects, and all these, right? Of course, you can tell all this. And teachers, what I would generally say is that we do a lot. We try to teach a lot. We try to impose a lot of things upon students. My advice to teachers is do less. Rather, motivate to go beyond the courses that you teach. Do not insist on doing mundane things, right? Like you write a conventional assignment, so everyone will copy, and you insist that people should not write on computer, people should write with their handwriting, their hand. You insist on 100% attendance, you insist on neat lab records, neat fair record, neat rough record, and all these kind of things, which basically consume a lot of quality time of students. And in the end, the value addition will be very less. So you motivate the students to do beyond what you deliver in the classrooms. If you are having a 1 hour class, they spend 30 minutes or 40 minutes for the discussion, and for the teaching and entertain discussions in the class. And it's not easy, but Not easy in the beginning because we may also have to do little certain additional work to do this. But over a period of time, you will be able to see rewards of this. University and government. So here I must say that we need to be wise, as I have mentioned in the quote earlier. Accept what you cannot change. Right? So you may say that university can do this, do that, and things like that, but then it is not really easy. But still, even in this, university is trying to do something. For example, the KTU has recently introduced what is called as a minor concept, the honors concept. I don't really advocate for the honors concept, but at least minor is a good idea. Because the students in a particular discipline will be able to gather reasonably good knowledge in some other related field. For example, a mechanical student can take a minor in computer science, which will definitely give a value addition. A computer science student can take a minor in electronics, definitely give you value addition, provided people take this in a different way rather than just adding 4 courses in their academic curriculum. They need to learn new things. They need to understand what is happening in the industry and how best we can use these minors to take advantage in the job market. So university is doing something, but don't try to change. Don't try to wait till the university make changes in the system because it will take a lot of time. Industry, yes. Industry is finally, the place where we want to, we want to see our students to move on, right? We cannot change what the industry demands. We cannot change what the industry do, but we must understand what industry is heading to. This is very important, without which the skill gap that we talk about will become more and more wider. So just 2-3 slides on, the industry, demands based on, again, it is based on our knowledge. Sitting here in this, business training and placement, attending PPTs of companies and other reading literature and all. So one important, focus of industry these days is automation. Automation is the key. With Industry 4.0, though the pace of automation has slightly reduced with the COVID-19 and all, still industry is going up in a higher momentum, and in the coming years also we'll see revolutionary changes happening in the industry. In various domains, and new domains are emerging, like cognitive computing, machine-to-machine computing, 3D printing, big data analytics, IoT, RFID, cyber security. So to name a few, basically, there are a lot of other technologies as well. So altogether, the industry is going through a paradigm shift. And in next 2-3 years, we'll see drastic changes. We all are afraid that some jobs will get completely extinct. This may happen. But new jobs also will emerge. But we need to focus more on what is happening in the industry. And there is a subtle difference between the interviews conducted by companies and the lab Viva, right? So we need to understand this to better orient our students for capitalizing the opportunities. As teachers, we ensure that the students don't burn the lab, finish the experiment fast, and leave the place, right? We have mostly a typical fixed marking scheme, and probably already prejudiced when suppose when a student comes to her and sits for a Viva, then she know that she's a 9-pointer, then probably will say that we may think internally, our brain will also think that she is good, so she may answer, and she may answer well. So already some mark is given in our brain. And if some student is coming and saying that, you ask a question, he says that I don't know, then we can simply say that why are you into studying? You are not serious about academics and don't do this, do that, and leave the place and call the next person. Because you are not really trying to understand what this person knows or what this person will do after a year. We simply call the next person. Whereas in a job interview, life is different. The interviewer would like to know the candidate in a professional way, right? They would like to know, the strength and weaknesses of this candidate. They would like to know what the students know and how much they know. Most importantly, the interviewer wants to know how the student approached new problems. This is what the main focus area of industry, right? What is the attitude of the candidate towards a new problem? How he approaches the new problem? Most importantly, can this student be trained? Does this student has the right attitude to get trained? Can the student lead to meaningful solutions given adequate clues? Do they ask the right questions and build answers from the hints that they give? Suppose the technical lead, suppose the manager gives some clues on what they want and what kind of approaches can be done, whether this person is able to reach those solutions that they're expecting. So these are the things. So they really do not want to close on saying that, I do not know. They wanted to really understand what this person is capable of doing. So it is at this point we need to, ponder further and make our students ask right questions and build answers from the hints that these people give. Right. Now, one last slide about what is happening in the industry in the post-pandemic situation. We all know that jobs are less, right? There is a sudden decline in jobs. People are losing jobs. Many people who are in jobs are experiencing salary cuts. Mid and higher jobs are at higher risk because companies need to pay more for these people. There is a constant sort of Damocles over the new joinees heads because new joinees are expected to do a lot of things in a very short time. And the companies are not having adequate bandwidth and time to give training for these new joinees. So they expect quite a lot from these people. One very important change happening is the gig economy. From full-time employees who may be employed for years and years, companies are moving towards freelancers or ad hocs. And in fact, our engineering college management was visionary. Managements were visionary in this. They have started employing ad hoc faculty from, for quite a long time from now. Faculty members on hourly basis. Faculty members for 3 months, 6 months. Now the industries, and this is a unique place where the industries are learning from the academia, probably. Because now the industry is also thinking like, why to employ a full-time, why to give job to a full-time person and employ him from 9 to 6 or 9 to 9 and give him all kind of benefits apart from salary, all PF, whatever, all these kind of benefits. Get the work done by part-timers, ad hocs, or outsource the work to smaller firms. I know that in some top-notch leading companies in the country, leading companies who do real R&D also in India, in electronics, they have many outsourced employees. So there are some smaller companies who are paying less. Their employees are coming and sitting and working in these companies, but they are not on the payrolls of those companies. They do a good work. If they do a good work, if the company see that if the company A who has employed employees from B, company B, they observe the person for 1 year or 2 years and see that if this person is able to deliver good, then probably when the next vacancy comes in company A, they may employ that candidate. So there is also a big thing happening where people with necessary skill set, as I have mentioned in my first slide, തെങ്ങ് കയറ്റക്കാരനെ വേണമെന്നുണ്ടെന്നുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ അതിന് തെങ്ങ് കയറ്റക്കാരനെ അറിയാവുന്ന ആ സ്കിൽ അറിയാവുന്ന ഒരുത്തനെ അവന്റെ ഡിഗ്രി നോക്കണം. നമ്മൾ തെങ്ങ് കയറ്റക്കാരൻ വരുമ്പോഴത്തേക്ക് അവന് BSc ഉണ്ടോ, BA ഉണ്ടോ, ഡിഗ്രി ഉണ്ടോ, PG ഉണ്ടോ എന്നൊന്നും നമ്മൾ ചോദിക്കില്ല. അവൻ ഈ പണി അറിയാവുന്ന മാത്രമേ നോക്കുള്ളൂ. അതുപോലെ ഈ പണി അറിയാവുന്ന ആൾക്കാർ, ഇത്തരം സ്പെസിഫിക്കലി ആയിട്ട് ഇൻഡസ്ട്രിക്ക് ആവശ്യമുള്ള പണികൾ അറിയാവുന്ന ആൾക്കാർ, അത്തരം സർട്ടിഫിക്കറ്റ് കോഴ്സ് എടുക്കുന്ന ആൾക്കാർ, അത്തരം ആൾക്കാർ വന്നുകൊണ്ടേയിരിക്കുകയാണ് മാർക്കറ്റിൽ. Google is also playing a big role in this. Google is coming out with Google certifications for people without formal education and all, but intended to want to, develop skills in some specific areas. So companies are ready to employ these people, and they can give work from home. Work from home has now become a norm. Many companies in the post-COVID scenario also will be focusing on the work from home. So it is not just like using Zoom, but if the company Zoom more, then a company in US will be able to give work to a person sitting at Kochi. Location of the employees do not matter. It is the quality of output that these people deliver that matters. So every tragedy has an opportunity, but the opportunity will be for people who are really looking for it and really ready to adapt to those, capitalize those opportunities. So our locations, our looks, etc. do not matter. What matters is how much we know and how much we can adapt and how much we demand, the money that we demand for the work that we do. Of course, our connectivity and our professional commitment matters. And this is where, we have an advantage. We have good connectivity, and if we, develop, good professional commitment also in our graduates, they may be able to find opportunities. Now, we have discussed the first four: the individual students, what they can do; teachers, what they can do, and probably what they should not do; university, governments, and industry. And now coming to the last point, what administration and training and placement officers can do. This is, perhaps, the interesting part that we may be able to see. So we know that the input quality and alumni that I have mentioned earlier, they are quite challenging. We know that. Of course, we can do something. Some institutions are basically giving priority to students who are having good academics, good ranks in the entrance examination and all, giving scholarship for such students, giving fee waivers for such students, so that in a class, some good population of students will be having good quality. And that will change the quality of the entire load even in due course of time. So this is one thing that we can do something, if not a lot of things. And alumni, quite challenging, but still, if the institution is a 10-year-old institution can still try to connect with alumni working in industries, and then invite them to the institute and have some meaningful dialogues with them to understand what is happening in the industry and how these people will be able to contribute to the development of, to the professional upliftment of the students currently doing their programs. Quite challenging, but still something can be done, if not a lot of things. Rather, what we normally do is, we conduct motivational speeches, we conduct technical workshops, we conduct lengthy seminars, webinars, soft skill training, and all these things have failed. We must understand that we have been doing a lot of things like these over a long period of time, but perhaps we have failed. Right? If we realize that we have failed, then we need to ask the last question in the agenda, like, why our students are not employable? We have seen who should make them employable. We know that there are 4 or 5 different stakeholders. Now the last question, how to make them employable? Now this is from a top administration or PPO's perspective. We need a long-term plan and a parallel skill development track. This is very important. Both these are very important. We need to have a long-term plan and we need to have a parallel skill development track, especially if the first two are weak. I mean, the input quality and the alumni are weak. So what I would like to say is that we are all familiar with 5-year plan. Let us have a 4-year plan, focusing on the BTech student right from first year to the final year. The most important thing that we need to do is try to predict what the industry demands after 4 years. Now the students are coming to our institution in 2020. Now let us understand, let us try to predict with the help of our people working in industries, with the help of our accrued knowledge, with the help of discussion with people, with the help of discussion with professionals in this domain, try to predict what the industry demands after 4 years and identify the skill sets to focus on. Now, what is the action plan for these 4 years? Evaluate quantitatively the current level of each student. This is very important. As early as possible, right? Try to evaluate the current level of the students, their analytical skill set, their aptitudes, their psychometric skills, their English proficiency, all these. Evaluate quantitatively. This is very important. Not like you invite someone for a talk, you conduct a feedback session after the talk. How was the speaker? How was the topic? How was the lecture? How was the QA? Not like that. You conduct a feedback session quantitatively about the people that you are trying to train with the help of good metrics. And if you are not, you are unable to do this, you seek the help of professionals who will be able to do this for you. Guide, train, and align all your programs for improving the identified skill set. So you have identified certain skill sets. You have evaluated the students where they are standing at present. Now guide and train your students to align all your programs that you organize. Not only the classroom content delivery, but the assignments, the projects that you do, the other additional things that you give, the technical programs that you conduct in the institute, and all these for improving the identified skill set. Periodically re-evaluate quantitatively to check for improvement. This is very important. Once for all, if you do this and then give some training and all, things may not be productive. You always need to have a closed loop control system for this. So you need to collect feedback, then you reorient your programs and periodically reevaluate the quality improvement of the students by quantitative means. I repeat, the quality improvement of students need to be evaluated in quantitative means. Adapt your trainings if necessary. And ensure visibility for your skilled students. This is very important. This is where the TPOs can do a lot of things. Now, if you do the first 4 points, that you make your students more and more employable, then it is your responsibility to see that these students are shown to the industry. So you need to make industry visits. You need to invite people from industry to come and talk to your students. You need to, encourage students to participate in the codeathon, hackathon, and all these kind of events organized by industries. You need to inform the industry that, yes, here are certain students from our college who are really knowing this, knowledgeable in this, you have done this, that, and things like that. And then you make your students more and more visible to the industries. So the TPO's job is quite easy now. The sense, when there are not many employable students with us, we can blame the students, the administration, and the teaching departments. Right? So at present, this is what is happening. The students are not really employable, and the administration is not supportive. The teaching departments are catering only to their respective courses. So what can we do? right? So this is what we generally do. So it is at this point that the administrators must open their eyes. If there are any administrators in this group, they must demand more from the training and placement officers. Mostly the training and placement office, what they do now is to conduct the placement drives. They do a lot of things, right? But most of the work that they do is mundane kind of things. In Excel sheet, you collect data, you give to the company, you collect the data in their format, and company's format, and all these kind of things. Trying to automate the routine, mundane processes happening in the training and placement office. Automate as much as possible so that the TPOs will be free from these mundane work. Ensure that the TPOs present a long-term plan to the administration. Long-term training plan I've mentioned earlier. Implement the plan through capable professionals and organizations. If you don't have really good in-house skilled people who will be able to help you in this, you seek the help of capable professionals or capable organizations who can, give you quantitative analysis about the skill set of your students, give a quality training for your students, and make your students more and more employable. Now, it is at this point that the management also need to be a little bit cautious, because there are a lot of fraudulent players in this market now. People who are not having job after their course, they start a company and say that we'll be able to offer this training, that training, and this training, and at a very, very low fee. The fee component may be very attractive to the management, that they charge only 100 rupees per student. Remember, the credibility of the professionals involved in this training is very important. Their industry exposure is very important. Their educational background is very important. All these are important. Unless you do this with these kind of people and organizations, the result will be very less. Result will be in fact counterproductive. So the management need to support the plan given by TPOs. And the TPOs should periodically update the management on the progress. The point is, if the planning and execution phases are good, the deliverables will be good. It must be good. The deliverables are the products coming out from your respective institutions. And in the end, our students will be employable engineers. Our students will be able to go greater and greater positions in the industry in the years to come. And the tea tastes better when you help others rather than blame everyone around. Thank you for listening to this, and I would like to hear from you. I'll be happy to interact with you. I may not be able to give solutions to some of your questions perhaps, but still I would like to hear from you on your thoughts on this. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Sir, myself, Kutimalu from SCT. Hello.
Yeah, Kutimalu. Yeah.
Yeah, I have a question.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah. So, while undergoing this pandemic situation, we academia also have faced many changes, like in terms of taking online classes, attempting online labs, online exams, and all. So, all of these are having pros and cons that, But then, in the post-pandemic situation, what are the key changes we can incorporate into our academia as a learning from this COVID situation?
So, can you repeat the last point, last question? What is the?
What are the changes we can incorporate into the academia in the post-pandemic time as a learning from this COVID situation?
Okay.
For example, I have an incident to quote on that. Like in our college, there was a student
Yeah.
who was having a serious health issue during the beginning of his sixth semester. So in a usual situation, he has to discontinue his semester and he has to wait till his entire illness has recovered. But due to Corona, he was also able to attend the online classes and completed his semester. And he was the first student who got placed from our college now. So such kind of things are happening as
Okay.
a positive impact of this COVID situation. So what are the things we can incorporate as a key takeaways from this COVID situation into academia? So that is basically my question.
Okay. Thanks, Kutimalu. My thought is like there are two things. First is there are some positive changes that we all, as teachers, we all have nurturing in our thought process because of the COVID situation that we have. We all know that we have issues with connectivity with the students. I mean, the physical connectivity that we have and the mental connectivity with the students. Because we have our own children studying in colleges, schools, etc. We all understand the difficulties that the students experience in the learning process, as our kids are also doing this online learning and other kind of things. So we are, a little more compassionate as teachers in the current scenario, right? When we normally go to the class and deliver a content, like we demand a lot of things from the students. We prepare a lot. We go to the class. We try to deliver a lot of things, and we may not get good response from the class. We may get irritated seeing the lack of interest of students and all. So, altogether, many times we may end up with a lot of frustration in the class. Whereas in the COVID scenario, we all have challenges. We understand that as teachers, we have several challenges in delivering content. Students are having several challenges in learning in this environment. So we are mostly, ready to listen to the students and adapt to their requirements in terms of timing, in terms of content, all this. So, but after some time, the COVID will be over and we all will come back into our normal routine. And one point that I would like to say is that, make a note of the learning that we have from this COVID situation. It is not because of the COVID that we have all these kind of disconnects. Basically, disconnects are always there. We are realizing the disconnects because we have a situation now. We are realizing it. And even when we deliver contents in our regular, classroom teaching, there will be a lot of disconnect. Students will be having different standards, different levels, different issues, basically. So we need to have a more, interaction with the students. So for that, actually, one thing that is to be done, that's what I've mentioned in the earlier, in my talk also. In 1 hour lecture, I presume that your class is a 1 hour. Don't try to, generally what we notice is that when we go to the class, the other person may be still delivering his content, crossing that 1 hour allocated to that person. And then, that person will somehow finally, the students in the class will, tell that other teacher is waiting and things like that. The person will go out and I enter as a teacher. And the first thing that I may do will be, I may be taking attendance sometimes. Sometimes I may be taking attendance towards the end. I am very particular on attendance. And then I start immediately like teaching my subjects. Students need to switch abruptly from one subject to another one. And they are not really getting a break. So we need to see that the students are basically getting adapted to the course that we are going to deliver. So you engage in a conversation with the students for about 5 to 10 minutes. Just discuss about something that is happening around and discuss about something that is discussed in the last class and all. Not in a very, cruel way, in the sense you ask questions, you conduct quiz, and then the person is not answering, ask to send them out and things like that. So try to be a little more, considerate. And take them to your level, allow them to, talk to each other for maybe 1 or 2 minutes so that they'll be able to attend your classes in a relaxed way. And then deliver content for about, 30 to 40 minutes, and then, I mean, again, and engage in some interaction, some discussion with the course content and things like that. And also, whenever possible, try to, tell about the things that they need to do beyond the classrooms. Beyond the classrooms. This is very important. So I think, as teachers, mostly we all will have certain challenges from the from our own, higher ups, HODs, principal, etc., to deliver content, to cover the syllabus, to students to score mark and all. But I think this needs to change a little bit. At least as younger faculties, we need to start these changes. Basically, we need to make sure that students are getting adequate room for learning things outside classrooms. Occasionally, you can call teachers, students to give a presentation. Maybe on a weekend, some students can give some presentations through online platforms. Now, online platforms have become matured, so we can do a lot of things with these online platforms also, even after COVID. So the point is saying, what I finally want to say is that, we are more compassionate as teachers during this time. There are a lot of challenges in conducting evaluations in the online means. We were afraid that students do a lot of copying and other kind of things. So probably, after this COVID, we will be able to conduct our normal exams and other kind of things. But you also need to, allow the students in their continuous evaluation some reasonably good credit, good portion of mark for mini projects as part of your course, so that these people will be able to learn at their own pace and do something and then learn things. So instead of conventional assignments and things like that. So eventually, you should think always that after attending my course, how the students can become a little more employable in this domain. So that kind of thought that you can put in while delivering content, probably we'll be able to make some changes. In over a period of time. Thank you. I think I know whether I have answered your question rightly, but this is my thought.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Thank you.
Okay, that was a good question, and thank you, sir, for answering it. I think we'll take the questions from the chat right now and take them one by one. So there's a question by Nidhi Ashish Nair. How to improve industry connect to academia and how to encourage more core companies to students?
How to improve industry connect to academia, right? That's the first question.
Yeah.
Now, again, this is something which we need to have for which we need to have a long-term plan. Again, this is where the training and placement office, and if there is an office of alumni, like if there's a faculty or an office dealing with alumni in an institute, these people will be able to help. So we need to, get people from industry to talk to our students, to interact with our students. Now, in this new environment of virtual learning, we'll have more easier ways of virtually connecting with experts from various domains. But the point is that what I want to say is that unless we have a targeted long-term connections with the industry, things will not be productive. For example, you may get an expert from industry to talk to your students on machine learning. Okay, that a person in industry will be happy to do. Spend 1 hour, your students will listen to that, and then after 1 or 2 days, the student will forget about it. The industry speaker also will he will forget about that institute after that. So the point is how to make them meaningfully connected to your institute. So that is where the two set of people becomes important. One is your own alumni who may be able to devote some time for your students on a continuous basis. Okay, or the recruiters that are coming to your institution, they may be ready to spend some time for your institution on a periodical basis. Okay, if your TPUs are having good connection with them, and then they want to see that the students from this college wanted to have certain skill set in this domain so that they are more employable, and this industry will be able to take them eventually, or similar industries will be able to take them eventually. So your TPUs will be able to help them. And thirdly, if the first two are not really working well, you need to have certain professionals in the domain who may do this in a more meaningful way. You may have to pay for them, but then they also should have good credibility to help you in this matter. Now, second question is how to encourage more core companies to the students. Now, this is a quite often a normal question that we hear from a lot of people, like people from electrical engineering, the department, teachers, and even the students wanted to get employed in core domains. Mechanical students wanted to get employed in core domains. So, two things that we need to understand here, again from my experience, are these. First thing is, whatever that we say about our capabilities in the core sectors, say manufacturing sector as far as mechanical or electrical students are considered, whatever that we speak or boast about our manufacturing capabilities, traditionally we are not really a great manufacturing country. Unlike China or Japan or Germany, we are not a manufacturing hub. Our opportunities in these sectors are very minimal. The R&Ds happening in these sectors are very, very minimal. Mostly the technologies are coming, if at all manufacturing is happening, technologies are coming from abroad, other countries in Europe or US, and getting products manufactured here. So in a manufacturing plant, the need for workers will be more than people with R&D skill sets. And even now the workers are also getting replaced with severe automation. So therefore, we need to change our perception regarding core job. That is where my second point is. In the context of Industry 4.0, what do you mean by a core job in mechanical? Do you mean that a core job in mechanical is dealing with a lathe or dealing with a CNC machine or designing a CNC machine? Not really. If you are employed in a plant, you may have to look at cyber security of the plant. You may have to monitor all the sensors, because sitting at your room as a mechanical engineer, you may have to look at the sensor outputs from various machines and take a final decision on something like if the temperature is going up, if the humidity is going up, going down, all these, you may have to take immediate actions. Again, actions also will be electronic actions. So a mechanical engineer needs to interact with machines, not human beings nowadays. So a mechanical engineer needs to know fair amount of coding. Electrical engineer may require fair amount of machine learning. A civil engineer needs to know that in the new buildings, there are a lot of wiring happening for sensors. There are a lot of sensors being embedded while concreting itself. So therefore, the domains are changing. The expectations and technologies related to domains are changing. So CAD design tools. Earlier, we were giving a lot of emphasis on the first year engineering drawing. Now, who is doing drawing on paper, drawing on drawing sheets? But even in our college, even now, people are drawing with mini drafter instead of CAD tools. So therefore, there is a lot of changes happening in the industry, and unless we keep our eyes open and listen to those understand those changes, we will have severe, huge huge gap between what is happening in the industry and what we teach in our courses and our perceptions about core courses, core jobs. Yeah. This is what I would say. Yeah.
Okay, so I think there was a follow-up to that, which was saying they wanted special input on mechanical engineering, but sir, I think you've covered that already. So
yeah.
The next question was, you had a slide about the partial keys with teachers, NBA, university, government. Gilish sir says that this appears to be contradictory because the statutory evaluators demand mundane things.
Yeah. So that's what I'm telling. So that's what I've indicated in the slide, which I've mentioned that like whatever things that you will be able to change, try to make changes, and wherever you are unable to make changes, understand that you are unable to make changes, right? And devote your time for other kind of things. Now, the point is, there I meant university, I meant government, but I can understand that I can now add the these kind of routine things like NB accreditation, NAC accreditation, and all these kind of things also. I completely agree with Dr. Gilesh that they are demanding a lot of mundane things, lot of outcome-based evaluations and other kind of things to be done. But again, there are certain things which we cannot change. Whatever may be the outcome-based education, all these things will say, ultimately it depends on the course faculty, how sincere the course faculty is to deliver the contents and to make the students learn the subject. Some of these cannot be really captured in the metrics that we use, but then we have to make metrics. So what we can do is that, of course, we need to do that because of the regulatory compliances, because our students need to get employment in other countries, and accreditation is therefore very important. But don't give a lot of importance to accreditation and other kind of things. Mentally, do things with whatever automation possible. There are softwares available for doing all these calculations. There are, Excel sheets people developed for with which you'll be able to do calculations. Get the help of your subordinates. Get the help of your lab instructors for getting these mundane things done. Get the help of some of your, teaching assistants if you have. If you're a PG department, if you're having MTech students as teaching assistants, then get the help of these teaching assistants to get these mundane things done, and rather than devoting your quality time for these kind of things. Of course, you may have to oversee all these, you may have to do some of these, but there are certain things we cannot change. We have to do as part of the regulatory compliances. We may have to do that, but do it in a clever and intelligent way so that you don't really waste your lot of quality time for this.
Okay, sir. Then I think there were some more questions about mechanical and civil, etc. And
Yeah.
I think we've covered all of that. Civil.
One point I can add is that regarding, say, civil, for example, say even in NIT Calicut example, they say NIT Calicut has got reasonably good placements in the circuit branches. And when it comes to other branches, mechanical, civil, etc., our placement figures are not so great. Whatever figures that we project, probably 50% of figures in civil, mechanical, etc., are also coding related profiles. That's what I've mentioned earlier. People who are ready to adapt to changes, who are ready to go for other domains, basically will be getting jobs, because whatever that we say about manufacturing, our traditional strength of India over the last 30 plus years is in the software domain. So no more opportunities are there in the software domain, and if people are ready to capitalize those opportunities, they may be able to capitalize those opportunities. Now, there are a lot of automation happening in civil, mechanical, etc. also. So therefore, the conventional requirement of engineers are less. Even site engineers are basically, those kind of jobs are also less, because there our engineers don't want to, stand in site under the sun, basically. വെയിൽ കൊണ്ടിട്ട് പണിയെടുക്കാൻ വയ്യ. നമ്മളുടെ ഒരു ടോപ്പ് റിക്രൂട്ടർ LNT കൺസ്ട്രക്ഷൻ നമ്മുടെ ടോപ്പ് റിക്രൂട്ടേഴ്സ് ആണ്. അവര് കഴിഞ്ഞതിന്റെ മുമ്പത്തെ വർഷം അവർ ഏകദേശം 45 പേരെ എടുത്തു, കഴിഞ്ഞ ഏകദേശം 10-15 പേരെ എടുത്തുള്ളൂ സിവിലിൽ നിന്ന്. And what they told is that our people are not sticking into the organization. അവരുടെ സൈറ്റിലായിരിക്കും വർക്ക് ഉണ്ടാവുക. അവരുടെ സൈറ്റിൽ ഒരു കണ്ടെയ്നറിനകത്തായിരിക്കും അവരുടെ ഓഫീസ് ഉണ്ടാവുക. അപ്പൊ അവിടെ വെയിലത്ത് നിന്ന് പണിയെടുക്കേണ്ടി വരും. അപ്പൊ നമ്മുടെ കുട്ടികൾക്ക് വെയിലത്ത് നിന്ന് പണിയെടുക്കാൻ വയ്യ. when they civil students compare, see the photographs of their computer science and electronic students getting updated in their Instagram pages, sitting in their office in the comfort of air conditioner, they see that they are doing a mundane kind of job, or they are doing a less privileged job. So these people will then go for higher studies sometimes, and again end up in similar jobs or in another software job. Or they may go for civil studies or civil services or other domains. So the problem is that people in core domains, they need to invest at least 3 to 5 years on field if they want to establish in their core field. And unless they are ready to do this, they will not be able to sustain in that job. How many of these students are ready to do that? The pay will be less initially, but over a period of time, 3 to 5 years, their value addition will be much more than the value addition of the software employee working in a software sector perhaps. But people are not ready to take that 3 to 5 years time. So unless people are ready to do this, ready to work for a lower salary, ready to work in the field, they will not be able to sustain in the core field. And if people from a college are not sustaining in the core field, then naturally the companies will not be coming and recruiting students from such institutions. So it is a vicious circle basically. So we need to have certain attitude change as far as students are also considered, and then only we'll be able to improve the scenario.
So then one next question is, you touched this during the seminar, but just as a follow-up, like how can we use tech platforms to bridge the skill gap specifically? And a follow-up to that is, what was NIT's experience with the placement automation? How did it help?
Okay, so two things basically. See, one thing is that if the training and placement office is less engaged with mundane things, and they have the support of these kind of professional softwares and all, they will be able to manage the job that they do with the industries and with the students in a better way. They will be able to devote some more time in the in enhancing the quality of students by multiple means. Now, second is, what are those multiple means that the people will be able to, TPOs will be able to do? Again, one thing is, first thing is that if we have a good support mechanism from an industry for doing this training need analysis and providing training. For example, we have certain incentive mechanisms wherein we are planning, in fact, we have just started experimentally that we will quite often ask, conduct aptitude test and conduct coding kind of tests. We'll pose certain questions to the students periodically, and they will be able to answer these questions within a certain period of time. And depending on the answer, some evaluations will be done. And those who are performing better, they will be given some kind of rating basically. And when they get ratings like these, their ratings will be improving over a period of time. And students with good rating, for example, student from a non-circuit branch suppose they want to get opportunities coming from a software company for a circuit branch. So if a student is having a good score in these coding rounds which are happening offline, or otherwise, parallelly through the platforms that we use, then we say that there is a student from biotechnology, there is a student from chemical engineering who is very good at coding, and because he has got some proven skills, and can you consider that student also for your job? So these kind of feedbacks are basically given to the industries, and they are also ready to consider these students, because ultimately they want students who are readily employable. So therefore, many things we will be able to do with the help of platforms like these. And second is internships, basically. We are seeing an increasing trend among industries to recruit students as interns and then give a pre-placement offer after the internship. So that in the interview, normal full-time recruitment, they will be able to see the candidate for 15 minutes, half an hour, and then make a decision whether to employ him or not, which may not be productive. And they are seeing that they are not really productive because they are seeing that the skill set of the students are not good, the attitude of the students are not good, and all these. Rather, now, especially from this year onwards, we are seeing an increasing trend from our institutions, increasing trend to get more opportunities for internships, so that these students will be going as summer interns in the industry for 2 months, 2.5 months. Industry will give them work, observe them for a quite long time, and decide at the end whether they want to give an opportunity or not, a full-time opportunity or not. And that is happening now. And this time we have received good number of pre-placement offers also. So if this has to happen again, the student needs to capitalize the opportunities that are coming through these internships and convert these internships into pre-placement offers. Again, these platforms will be able to help because a continuous improvement in skill set would be possible with the help of these kind of platforms. Yeah, thank you.
All right, sir. I think we have time for one or two more. Just a small follow-up on that. The placement automation specifically. Can you speak a minute about that? Because I mean, about the work it reduced, and how the
Okay. Okay, probably you can add whatever that I say. Basically, from our perspective, actually, what we were doing earlier before this, I mean, using a software for the placement automation. Whenever we send an invitation in the beginning to the companies, and the companies will respond with their job notification form in their Excel sheet, or sometimes in Word document, and all these kind of forms they will give with the details of the skill set, salary, job profile, everything. And then we need to publish this among students, potential students, and then collect the data of the students in in the respective format of the companies. Now, this is a very tedious task because we need to share all these documents with the students by email, and then our placement representatives will create Google Forms for each and every company depending on the format used by the company. And then, I mean, we share the Google form with the company. We'll give some time for the students to apply for the jobs, and they need to look at all the documents and everything in detail before applying for the job, and check the eligibility criteria, everything, whether they're eligible to apply for the job. Sometimes students who are not eligible to apply for the job will be applying for the job. So we have to screen all the students again, whether these students who have applied for the job really meets the eligibility criteria prescribed by the company. We have to do a manual check of all these before sending the list to the company. Then we send the list to the company. Then company, we may do some shortlisting. Company will inform that back to the institute, and then again we'll publish the shortlist with the company, and then we share the list with the third parties conducting the online assessment and all. And these lists will be shared further with the students also, that so and so are shortlisted for the test, and then they have to appear for the test. Then again, after the test, if 100 students have written the exam, only 50 students are shortlisted. So we have to eliminate all those 50 manually, and then again send the revised list to the students that these are the shortlist, and our company will be doing it manually and sharing the shortlist with us, and again managing the interviews and all. So all these process involves a lot of man labor, basically, I mean manual work. Whereas all these, with the help of this software, actually all these have become very easy, because we send an invitation to the company with a skill, with a link to upload their job profiles in the portal. So they need to just click the link and upload the profile in the portal, or they can just create a login and upload the details there, where they will be able to manage the entire job from their side. Now, once a job is coming into the portal from the company, we will get a notification that a new job is posted by so and so company. So, say ExxonMobil has uploaded a new job, we'll be able to know, and then we will go and see whether ExxonMobil has given all the required data. We will just verify the form and then accept the form. Once we accept the form, an acknowledgement will go to the company saying that NIT TNB has accepted your job. Then we will publish the job. When it is ready to publish, we will publish the job. We will work with the company on the dates of interview or telephone, date of test or telephone, but we will publish the job with the students. The moment you click a button, publish the job, all those students in our database, and before that actually we enroll all the students in our database. So all the students appearing for the placement are already enrolled in our database with all their necessary credentials. Now this company ExxonMobil says that these students, people with 7 CGPA from these branches are eligible to apply for the job. When I just click the button publish, a notification will go to all the students. Only the students eligible to apply for the job as per the criteria prescribed by the company, only those students will get the notification that a new job is posted for you. Are you interested to apply? Now the student will go and see all necessary documents that they wish to see in their app. That the job is details, CTC, eligibility, branches, etc., etc. They will see, and they will just click a button, apply. When they click the button apply, their list is updated in our profile, our portal, that so and so student has applied for the job. Now we give them some 5 hours, 6 hours, 10 hours, 1 day for applying for the job. At the end of the day, end of the time, we have the list of say 150 students applied for the job. Now we need to send the list to the company. Now again, one click, we will select what are the required fields of the company, required by the company, one by one, tick, 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 and then send the list will directly go to the company. And at the same time, the company HR will be able to see the list of students in their account, their portal also. I mean, in our portal, in their account. So they'll be able to see the credentials of the candidate, the resume of the candidate. They can click, resumes are all made available. So they can click the resume, they can do some further shortlisting based on resume or CGPA or whatever. And they can say that these are the students eligible. So those students will be able to participate in the rest of the process. And all the eliminations happening after test, after interview, everything will be able to automate. So altogether, if about say 30 hours of labor is required, man-hours are required for managing the process of a company, so that can be reduced to 2 hours or 3 hours with the help of this kind of automation, so that we have certain additional time for managing the entire activities. That is our experience. That is our experience. I'm not advocating for any specific solutions. There are many solutions available in the market. I'm not advocating for anything. We have, we're using a solution called Genskill by these people, because they are basically NITC alumni. They were, giving this software to us as a separate agreement and other kind of things through the institute, and that is why we use it. And it is up to you to use whichever platform is convenient. Yeah, Naufal, do you want to add anything?
No, I think that you covered it very well. This is because we've been following with the thing also, so I think we thoroughly covered.
Yeah, I think one additional thing, sir, since sir mentioned about Genskill, is basically one of the things that sir talked about, like, how do you go for a 4-year, kind of planning. So the overall, idea behind the Genskill software is to help identify the requirements of individual students and giving the tools for the training and placement office to actually help the students understand where they stand and reevaluate where they are after taking some trainings and stuff. So an entire plan for a 4-year journey for students is what we are offering in Genskill. Just wanted to add that.
I think we'll do one last question as we can wind up. Sir, there was a question that says, sir, as you mentioned, industry expert talk is essential. How can we arrange at least one representative from companies concerned to talk to students once a year, regardless of their streams and college rank? I think this is basically the college industry connect. So
actually, from our experience is that companies are ready to engage with the campuses in 2 ways, basically. One is that nowadays good companies are conducting many events for the campuses. It could be hackathon, codathon kind of events where they seek participation from the campuses. And they are ready to even conduct sessions for the students to get more participation from the campuses. So if you look for opportunities, or if your TPOs look for opportunities of these kind of things happening in LinkedIn. But LinkedIn is a very, very important platform that every student in the campus should have a LinkedIn account. We as TPOs, we insist that every student applying for the job should have a decent LinkedIn profile with all necessary data available. So as faculty members, we can also engage with industry experts through LinkedIn, and we can invite them for talking to our students through these online platforms, or even in the post-pandemic scenario and all, they may be even interested to come at their convenience. They may be able to come and talk to your colleges also. So this is one thing that is through the events happening. Even the advertisements will be coming in LinkedIn and Facebook and other kind of platform. Make use of these opportunities and encourage your students to participate in these kind of events, so that students from some campuses are always visible. And this is where the colleges in metro cities in Chennai, Bangalore, etc., Hyderabad, etc., score well in a better way than some of the other top institutions in the country in terms of ranking and other kind of thing. For example, better than students from NIT Surathkal or NIT Calicut. Students from normal self-financing colleges in Bangalore and Chennai perform well in these kind of opportunities because they have more connectivity and they have more visibility in this arena, and they are basically very aggressive also. The students are very aggressive in capitalizing these opportunities. When they do something, then they do some project, they will go to many colleges, participate in their tech fest, and then make their presence felt in all these campuses and among all these industries. That is one thing. Second thing is that many of the companies who are coming and recruiting your students, that we have seen that they are increasingly interested in coming and talking to your junior batches, because if they know that if the junior batches are given adequate exposure, they will be able to come up well, and they will be their future employees. So therefore, they are ready to spend some time, provided you give them adequate platforms and opportunities with necessary support. Basically, we need to cater them well. Then they will be able to come and talk to your students for a long time. For example, we have recently conducted 5-day program with the help of Cisco. Cisco has conducted 5 3-hour sessions, so total 15-hour sessions in 5 days, exclusively on networking and security. So that was a kind of session where a lot of practical insights were given on this kind of issues. And there are many companies who are interested in giving this, but now we are unable to give slots to them because we are having a tight placement schedule. I'm just telling my example, but in your example, probably companies, probably you have to target the companies that are coming to your campuses, and accordingly you may have to connect with them, and slowly you'll be able to enhance the level of companies and participation.
Okay.
And LinkedIn connectivity is very important, and that is something which we need to make it a point. The student level, at the faculty level, at the TPO level, we need to have better visibility in LinkedIn.
Okay, I think the time is, we've reached a limit. I'm sure there are more questions, but I mean, time is a factor which we have to
now, before we wind up, I actually want to, first of all, thank Sameer sir for spending the time. It was, I think, at least for me, it was completely educational to hear how the TPO side sees, all these challenges and the interesting thoughts that are there. I also want to talk about the Genskill Thought Leadership Series. So what we are trying to do is we are trying to bring in all the players in this ecosystem, primarily the industries, the institutions, and even the students, to actually come together and share ideas to improve. So we are planning to have this as a monthly series. For example, one of the big opportunities that we see is the ability to work with startups, in the sense, can the students actually go and join startups? And unfortunately, many of the startups are not hiring fresh students. And the reason is how much time and effort it takes to actually train fresh students. And instead of that, they're going for experienced hires. We generally think that's an amazing opportunity wherein students can actually go in and work at startups. And we are planning to have the next series trying to bring in industry leaders, primarily startup CEOs and startup HR people, to kind of interact with the institutions as to what all skills they are looking for, how the startups can recruit more students from many of the engineering colleges that you are representing. Because even Kozhikode, Kochi, and Trivandrum, we have plenty of startups. And in fact, today, the news was that Kerala was ranked the highest among the startups, startup culture across India. So that is something that we are planning for the next month. Hopefully, all of you will be able to attend. And we want to continue these events for at least the foreseeable future. And the idea is how we all can help solve the skill gap problem in engineering. Thank you again for attending. Naufal, is there anything more that we need to cover?
No, I think we're done. We'll reach out to all the participants probably for feedback if possible, so that we'll know what other topics are of interest and which we can consider for the future sessions. Apart from that, I think it's been beneficial to everyone. It's been beneficial to me and Asif, definitely. I hope it's been beneficial to everyone else who's come. Thank you, Sameer sir, once again for taking the time to talk to all.
Thank you, Naufal. Thank you, Asif. And thanks to all the participants of this program. It was very, encouraging to see the response in the chat window and your questions. Whatever that I have talked is from my perception. So many things could be actually different. I really do not know. But I sincerely hope that you will further, think about these kind of some of these issues. Basically, we all want to see that our students are getting employed in good institutions, good companies, and all. So, let us, try something differently, and let us think about all these in the days to come, because the times are very challenging. And wish you all the best. Thank you very much.
Yeah, team, I have a small suggestion. Like, since you are bringing an industry expert, it will be nice if you can bring in, at times in your sessions, internship opportunities, so that students also will benefit out of all this. Even the faculty can also be encouraged for internships.
Yes, madam. I think we will kind of create a plan for that also.
We'll do that.
And finally, I want to thank Manjusha, who's part of our team, who had reached out to like many of you. She had spent a lot of time calling up people, ensuring that people are attending. I just want to acknowledge her contribution to putting this together. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Yeah, bye. Thank you. Bye.